you doing?
Well, let's do that. We're off to a rousing start, huh, Nacho? What's up, everybody? Welcome.
Hola a todos.
Welcome. All right. I'll be throwing my little Spanish here now and again, but
Hey, yeah.
I'm Nick, and that's.
I'm Nacho.
And we're here as two guys on a Thursday to fill some holes.
Yeah. I was kind of nervous before we started, but I smoked a ciggy and took my nervous poop out, so I'm ready to fill some holes. Oh, too much? Too much information?
No, it's not too much. It's funny. Is that like your nervous ritual?
If I can do it before a stream, I do it. Yeah.
Okay, so Iggy smokes a ciggy and then poops.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's appropriate too, because I mean, that's more room in the hole for filling.
Oh, I wouldn't expect to be filling my own hole, but if it's viable.
Always viable. Always viable.
By the way, I like what you did to the studio.
Yeah, it doesn't eliminate the glare to the head, but
you need some makeup.
Yeah, I might try it. Is he still in the insane asylum?
I think so. Even more so now because they are all snowed in. So Tyler, do you want to build a snowman to plow away all night? It doesn't have to be a snowman. It can be me.
I'll be clipping that too. I guess he's ready. We'll say hello to Dale. We say hello to Tyler.
Hey, Dale.
Mark, actually, I had a discussion with Mark a little earlier today, and he wanted to clarify something. I'll bring up the clip. I'll bring up the clip in question. Okay.
Sometimes I just think I'm insecure in my masculinity, so I'm making up for it by having a dangerous pet. You know, like one of those knuckle dicks in Georgia with a tiger on a leash.
Dude. Okay, so Mark wanted me to specify that he's never owned a tiger. He never will own a tiger. And Peacemaker was not talking about him today.
Unless,
of course, he is.
Oh, I'm glad we select the song. Mary.
Miss So. Hi, gang.
Austin.
All right, so how's your week going otherwise, Mr. Ignacio?
Oh, excellent. Kind of busy because we launched a Kickstarter 2 days ago, so it's been crazy. But besides that, we have a guest in the house, an unexpected guest. We have the Rona in the house.
Oh, really?
So my stepson and my wife are, hey Steven, are sick now. The baby and I are doing good, so let's hope it keeps going that way for us.
Okay, and just
but so far so good.
I hope that everybody who's sick gets well quickly, and that's you and the baby.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right, so look, there it is. I can deny that he does not have a knuckle dick. So.
Oh, okay.
All right, so there you go. All right, and speaking about the Kickstarter, how about we share some of the details about the Kickstarter? I heard you on Whack Comics the other night.
Yeah.
And then
I've been all over.
Yeah, and Mark was very gracious to share it last night during one of the streams I watched, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I saw you live, and I said, okay, I'm gonna spam the whole panels.
That's the way to do it.
But not Nick.
All right, so this is the one we're talking about. This is an anthology. Of course, you did the art.
I did the art for one of the short stories. There is 5 creative teams, 6 pages per story, and black and white, and free. I mean, every creative team could do whatever they wanted.
Nice.
So we open submissions. I also am the assistant editor to this anthology.
Fine.
So I did some of the editing process, but the the brunt of it was done by my creative partner Gerald Von Carr. He wrote the script for the Crib Sisters, the story we do in this first issue of the anthology, and he did everything else. He contacted people, he edited, he manages the Kickstarter campaign. He's a force of nature, basically. And this is my first two as a creator-owned project. So we're very proud because we funded in 8 hours, and that's a great sign for what we have in store for the future, because all the artists involved are really happy. And apparently we already have enough material for a second issue, so as soon as we are ready, we will launch our second campaign, I guess.
What's up with this Sith Lord picture you got going on here?
Well, I think it's the only acceptable photo I have to show like that. I don't know. My wife selected it. I cannot select one photo of me for my life. I would always send a drawing of myself. I feel more comfortable.
It's
So
funny.
there are some variants.
It's funny the things you relinquish when you get married. You know, like the ability to A-OK or A-OK or okay a picture of yourself or see if that's okay. But,
yeah, I cannot help myself. I told her, should I send a drawing or any of these pictures?
Mm-hmm.
And even in one of those pictures, there wasn't even my face. But and she selected, and I edited it, and there it is. I'm a Sith Lord, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays with all the Star Wars excitement going on, it's pretty cool.
Oh, there is? I don't know anything about Star Wars.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna say hello to more people. Free energy. Cole, hello.
Leo, Cole. Oh, puppy Cole.
Yeah. Cole has some, see? Cole likes it too. I will be sure to do that. I'll give everybody a wrench who deserves one. I'm not sure he deserves one. Can he get wrenches in the insane asylum? Or I'm sorry, the institution.
The sanitarium.
So speaking of sanitarium, we're off to a little bit of a late start. This was supposed to happen last week, and we had to delay on my part due to a little touch of psychosis that went through the house. So we apologize for not filling holes a little bit earlier than expected, but we're here now. We're here now.
Ready to fill your holes.
Ready? So one of the things over the week that I found very interesting was this article.
Okay.
I wondered, just for you, like I always thought it'd be cool to kind of...
What? 112. Okay.
112. So just a little bit older than me. I think they're like 3 or 4 years older. But I always thought it would be cool to live forever. Until I was married and had a kid and fell in love with certain things. But you have certain
yeah, and you have first-hand experience in all of this because you're close to the age, you're married, and you have children.
Yes, I'm very close to the age. I am married, which is not a thing. I mean, you go throughout life and you can have different women and all this other stuff. That'd be all right. But the whole fact of letting go of people, I think, would be the hard part.
Yeah, I mean, it would need to be maybe two things. If you are immortal, I mean, if I was immortal, if I were, I never know how to say it, so I'm gonna say it anyway. If I was immortal, I would wish to be able to make people immortal, like a vampire. But maybe it's a curse, so maybe not. I don't know. The other way I would like to be immortalized is to download my consciousness into a machine.
Oh, the singularity. Yep.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All right, so
because you're immortal, but you're not tied to the material, to your body. You know, maybe you can download yourself into a surrogate body, or live in the cloud. As
interesting. You know, there's always like plus and minus because I mean, if you take away the physical part, that's a good deal of what makes life so enjoyable is to feel and touch things, right?
yeah, that's right. But imagine what we could experience if we were to be set free from those boundaries, the boundaries of the flesh, of the senses, the immediate senses, the touch, the feel, the smell. What would happen with our consciousness? How would our consciousness experience reality if it wasn't attached to a single body?
Interesting. And you know what, Free? I was going to ask this question: how would you make people immortal?
Well, I don't like vampires a lot, but there's an exchange of fluids there. There's always an exchange of fluid that makes you immortal, you know? Because, yeah, kind of, you know, there's something pointy that enters another body. So vampires, there's a part of the mythology of the werewolf that says that the werewolf is immortal too, but not in every werewolf mythology, lycanthrope mythology, the werewolf is immortal. So I think we could count undead, of course, like vampires or leeches or even zombies. Zombies are immortal. We don't know what's going on in their minds, but or even if they had a mind. Comics.
Well, Dale might be right. You know, if you're part of the singularity, you could use a USB port to make more people happy. And you know what? This brings up a good point too. You're closer to immortal than most of us.
Because I don't know.
You have things that will live on when you're gone.
Yeah, well, we have this. We have the I mean, this is forever on the internet, or at least until we get a solar flare or an EMP, worldwide EMP that erases every record, digital record from the face of the world. But we like to think we can live forever is one of the things that motivates humans to keep going, you know? I think I want to be remembered. I want to live forever. I'm going to die anyway, but what can I do so people can remember me? And people do atrocious things in order to be immortal. So I did a comic. It's kind of good. We're doing a show. That's nice.
And we have children, which is said to the fact that we live through them forever and our experiences through them. But now I'm kind of depressed because that scares the crap out of me. The whole
well, you you brought the subject, man.
No, that's crazy, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's. What happens to NFTs? Yeah.
Well, you could, if you download your consciousness into the matrix, the cloud, the internet, you could enter the blockchain and be a digital thief and steal NFTs from the blockchain and give them to other people. I don't know. Can that be a thing?
I wouldn't see why not.
But
you can pretty much do anything you want in the Matrix, right?
Yeah. Oh, NFTs will disappear if there is a worldwide EMP, Tyler. And no one would be rich anymore because the financial system is digital now. So pretty much we will be all trying to invade the gold reserves of our countries or something. Maybe food first, and then we can think about currency.
Maybe. I mean, currency might be the last thing on our minds. Might be the last thing.
Yeah.
And NFT Robinhood.
Exactly. Thank you, Marcus. You got it.
Yeah. Hey, be sure to check out Marcus's channel. I've linked his channel in the description because Marcus is one of those guys who is vastly underappreciated. His Instagram, his daily Instagram stuffs make me crack up, and he puts himself in certain situations where how he might get money for comics or what happens when he spends money for comics. So be sure to check out Marcus. Marcus is a great guy. When he's not making fun of me and saying, wondering how you would get child support out of me. But
well, this show is for that to stop, because you need to make fun of you more than anyone wants to make fun of you in this show. So when someone makes fun of you outside the show, it's, oh, dude, you're late. I already did that in my own show.
yeah, but you know what? I never thought about. See, and another handsome bald man right there. Hi, Bruce.
Brucey boy.
I lost. Another handsome bald guy comes in and I lose my train of thought. Oh, it's just I always thought that I knew how to make fun of myself, but there are some other creative ways, like the finger thing I've always known. But I'm sure that there's something out there, that probably like DJ Lynx talks about behind my back, and
I don't know. I'm not part of those chats. But yeah, the finger thing, I mean, it's low-hanging fruit, man. It's like making fun of us because we're bald. Or my accent. Oh, Ignacio has a funny accent. Yeah, so? I speak 2 languages. Can you do the same?
Right, and that's seen as a very, very worldwide great asset. So there you go. I mean,
I have a great asset.
It was wonderful asset. It was funny when DJ Lynx kind of imitated you, but to hear your voice, especially when you speak Spanish like.
Como cuando lo hice el otro día en Webcomics, durante el momento que destruí Spawn number 1.
Spawn número 1. To me, that's sexy. A lot of women would think that's sexy too. A lot of men would think that's sexy. So,
well, thankfully, I found a woman that thinks my voice is sexy too.
Except for you want to have your own opinion or something like that, I'm sure.
Oh, she doesn't care about my opinion.
Hey, so since we have this sexy segue, I'll show one of the things that I'm looking forward to tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Myself being an artist, we'll take a look at this beauty right here.
Let me get my glasses. Oh, shit.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah, this dude, man, I don't know how he does it, but...
Mr. John Jang doing this cover for Rogue Sun #1, coming out of what's the comic it's coming out of? I forget.
I don't know, man. His art is so vibrant. It shines. It really shines. It's amazing the way he works, how he does it. I would like to see him do it. I would like to see him a time lapse of one of his pieces from 0 to finished, because that usually gives you hints of.
There you go, Supermassive.
His process.
Yeah, and you know what? I would actually like to see him do freeform, like stuff on paper. I mean, he's done a couple of things that are out of his norm, like the Usagi Yojimbo cover.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome, but I'd like to see more of what the non-digital stuff from him. I mean, it's pretty distinctive.
Yeah, but I think his signature today, or what I know about him, is his strong suit is how he manages to manipulate the digital medium. It's another thing doing it traditionally, so which is amazing too.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you, as an artist creating something, do you want to be known for a particular style, or do you think that you want to branch out and try to recreate yourself every now and again?
Well, I try to keep evolving, because I don't want to stagnate, because that's a moment you're dead inside, I have been struggling with my style since I tried to find one, because when I was a kid, when I was 19, probably. I found this dude, Travis Charest,
Oh yeah.
and he has an amazing traditional hyper realistic style. And I tried to ape Travis Charest for a long time.
Mhm.
It took so long, and I never got it. And at some point along the way, I I accepted that I had a cartoony style that came naturally, and through accepting that cartoony style, I was able to then work on it to make it more like the style I would like to have. But it's always an evolving process. It's always I mean, for me, it's always moving. I
Do you
have
do you think
no. Ask me.
do you think certain subject matter requires a different style?
I would like to think that no. I mean, I have a cartoony style, and I would love, because I like to read it. I would like to do horror, gore, serious subjects with a cartoony style. The other day I read a comic called The Adoption, and it's a French comic. I think it's available through Europe Comics in the US digitally. And it's a really serious comic about a French family that adopts a kid from, I think, Venezuela or Haiti, after an earthquake. And it's a cartoony style, but it deals with subject matters of not having kids, not being able of having kids. Spoilers if you are going to read the book. I don't think so, but I'm here to fill your holes. If you don't read French comics, I'm here to fill your hole.
This is what it's all about.
The story is told from the point of view of the dad, of the grandfather, and the dude doesn't like the idea of his son adopting a Latin kid, a little Latin kid, but it's a little bit of that story of the granddad getting to know the little girl and teaching her and bonding with the little girl. And then the story breaks apart when they find out that the son and his daughter-in-law, right? The wife of the son, they kidnapped this kid from South America and brought it to France. So they take it away. His son goes to jail. His granddaughter, his daughter-in-law disappeared from the picture. So it gets really heavy, but it has a cartoony style. So that gives me the idea it can be done. Pat McEwan, it's an artist that did with Mike Mignola a comic called The Conqueror Worm, and it's a Lovecraftian tale about a team that tries to stop an ancient evil that's going to rise. It's a classic tropey story, and it's all done in a cartoony style, but it's a horror comic. Oh. So no.
I think sometimes it works too, because like you mentioned, the cartoony style, and it's kind of in the news now about something that's cartoony but tackles a real horrific issue, and that was Mouse. One of the books that was recently banned. Yep, and recently banned, and it was banned because of a ridiculous reason. I think it was because of the nudity.
Yeah, because of a couple of words, and the nudity were the main concerns of the discussion. Not the Holocaust, not the horrors of the war.
No, not millions of people being burned and gassed, but a little mouse butt.
Yeah, I told you, I tried to read the transcript from that session of the school board from, where is it? Is it Tennessee? I don't remember. I don't want to speak out of my mouth, out of my ass. The McMinn County Board of Education. I think it's a really long document, so I wasn't able to finish it. So I will try to read it for the next show and have a more informed opinion, or at least better information. But they're discussing the words and the nudity because I think they know the material is important for the kids to learn about, but they don't want the words. I mean, I think they're trying to censor the last word, the last letters from the word bitch or something like that, or censor the nudity in one panel. I don't exactly know the extent of the discussion, but in the end, they voted. They all voted. All the board voted for banning the book directly. Or I mean, we will eliminate the book, and maybe they will replace it with another one or consult with Art Spiegelman to see if he allows them to do heavy editing that would be out of the parameters of fair use, because there is a parameter of fair use in these matters, that you are allowed to use other people's content to inform, to show a point or whatever, and it's fair to use it cut, edited. But there's a point in which that fair use breaks and you are censoring, basically.
You know, and it's just weird to me. Like in this country, these things are always within arm's reach. You know, you'll talk about a little mouse butt and a little word here and there, but on the radio, you have girls singing about how they want to take a 10-inch
Finger.
or how it's a bad. Well, it's not a 10-inch finger, but you know what I mean.
A 10-inch finger, yeah.
Yeah. So you derail me, Ignacio. It's so readily available everywhere here in the United States. It's just what they choose to battle against is just baffling sometimes. Just baffling sometimes.
Yeah, I think everything is good. You know, you have to educate people. It's a book that educates people. It's a song that maybe educates people. You know, or you need to educate the people that listens to the song so they understand the meaning behind the song and the extent of the world. That, I mean, there are other things. You have this point of view and you have this other point of view, and you can take a 10-inch finger, or you might like the 5-inch finger, or you might like the fill holes against holes, supermassive black holes.
And that's what we're all about here on Thursdays is holes.
Exactly. We've been filling holes in the beginning.
So let me ask you, before we get off this topic, what is it like there in Argentina? Is it that you look at stuff that goes on in America and kind of giggle, or do you kind of wish it was like that where you're sitting?
I don't know, man. As everything, it all has pros and cons. Because it would be great to be a first world country. It will be great to have the power of a stable economy, or be the head of an empire.
No, yeah, that helps too sometimes.
But on the other hand, man, we have public health here. I haven't had an issue of health, a serious issue of health in like 16, 20 years. But every time I have a problem, I have free medical care. You know, we still have private insurance companies, and I pay that for my son, for my wife, and for my stepson, but not for me, because I trust in my country's medical system.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it, because I could have another level of, but it's the same, you know, the same doctors that are working in the public health care are working in the private health care.
So why right? Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Why pay? I know. I'm paying already. I pay my taxes. And part of the national budgets of that comes from those taxes goes to healthcare. Your healthcare seems crazy to me, because you're a huge country with lots of resources, with lots of people. I mean, you are the United States of America, and each state it's its own country for me, looking it from outside.
Oh yeah.
So
here in Texas, it's a whole other thing also. So
yeah, you have
I know if I were to, like, part of being an older man, you go to the doctor and you got to bend over and you got to, the first one is free, but if you wanted the second one, they'll charge you probably $1,000 to get that second.
And if you want him to spit before, there's a lot of money.
Cost extra. Cost extra.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
so let's move on from politics and the anal probing. I want to show one of these other things that I'm also excited about. My boy Mike Mayhew. He'll come across. Shit. Yeah, see this one. This one is good. He'll come across with some ugly sneaker variants, or you'll just wonder what he's doing, and then he'll drop a cover like this, which is also coming out tomorrow. I think around the same time the Jang cover is coming. But this one here is that homage to, and I'm trying to do it on my screen. This one. But I think
it works. It works.
Yeah, for me, I think this is fantastic and one that I can't pass up on.
Yeah, I understand. It's a really, really cool cover. Homage aside, because if you told me what is this cover an homage for, I wouldn't have picked it. I wouldn't have chose that Wolverine cover.
Yeah,
but when you show it side by side, it's clear. But it's such a simple take. I mean, it's your character. It has a weapon and it has a hand. I mean, there must be a lot of covers like that, but it's a clear homage once you put them side by side.
Yeah. Are you sick of the homages in the comic book industry?
Well, I have a particular take on that. I'm not in the position to really judge it, because I do not spec. I don't buy weekly. I don't buy floppies. I'm a comic. I create. I'm almost all the time creating. But I understand the market. I understand the appeal, because there's some amazing art on those variant covers.
Amazing art.
Well, that's one thing. Yeah, thank you.
Would you say this is an homage to Spider-Man #1?
It is. It is.
I take
it was. And and I had a discussion with Darren about that, because I told him, dude, I don't like to do my own variants. I mean, he told me, he explained to me about the market, about the collectors, about the appeal, and I understand it. But when I'm thinking about comics, I think, well, it has this cover and that's it. But that being said, I understand that this is a business, and in order for a business to thrive, you need to have variety to offer people. That's why we had 4 variant covers for Killer which I did 2 of them. Mm-hmm. I did the A cover, I did the pencils for that cover you have there, and Darren did the inks, and Studio Beast did the colors. And then I did another one that's that same drawing, but with a different background, which I also colored. So we ended up having 3 variants, and I did 2 of them. So I'm a hypocrite if I say I am not into that, because it's part of my toolkit to appeal to customers.
Right, and I guess in the end too, you love to draw, right?
That's the main driving force behind it. It's, oh, you want another one of my drawings? Thank you.
You're just a prideful, narcissistic Argentinian. That's what you are.
Yeah, but in the end, I'm just like a cheap whore. I can always say it. I can also say yes to a little amount of money.
I love drawing and you love getting paid. So when they meet in the middle, there you go. You go. Well, in addition to Killer, you also have some other projects you want to push forward. Should we look at the Vox Machina trailer?
Well, yeah, this is a thing that I have been a fan of these people since 2015 when they started. This is based on a tabletop role-playing game campaign that they play on Twitch and YouTube. These people are voice actors.
Yeah, I've actually seen this. I actually started to watch it, and I was like, all right, my son who's 11, I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. I might watch it with him, and then like
no,
a second into the trailer, the guy was like, oh. I was like,
no, it's adult animation.
All right, so let's take a look at. We'll take a quick look, and we'll see how good your cartoon animation lip reading goes. Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, in order to avoid a copyright strike, we're keeping this mute. But this is based on a role-playing game D&D campaign, and they played this campaign for like 3 years live on Twitch every Thursday night for hours on end, because every session takes hours. And eventually they came to the idea that while they were doing their second campaign with other characters and such, they say, well, what if we do animation? We crowdfund a project in which we animate a single episode, 22 minutes, of the first campaign. The Legend of Vox Machina. Vox Machina is the name of the team, of the adventuring party. So they did a Kickstarter. They asked for, being people that do voiceover, they know for games and animation, they know how expensive this is. So they aimed to do a single episode, 22 minutes. They asked for $750,000 on Kickstarter. That was their first goal. Would you care to guess how much money they got?
Well, if it wound up on Amazon Prime, I'd say at least 5 times that.
They got, I don't know, I'm not good at math, but they got $11 million.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this show premiered, I don't know, man, it's a lot more. So this show premiered the January 28th, and each Friday they release 3 episodes. So 3 episodes are up on Amazon Prime, and 3 episodes go up tomorrow. So this is one of the holes I want to fill in the community. The role-playing game, the fantasy, maybe there's some things that like this that slip through the cracks because we're focused on Marvel, DC, but these people are creator-owned. They created these characters, they play these characters, they created the story, and they do comics, they do books, they do merch, and they have this amazing animation available now.
Right, and see, the thing is, like, growing up, I've always loved Dungeons and Dragons, and we play a few times, but it never really caught on because it was always at the availability of one dungeon master, and then it just petered.
The dude with the books.
Right. I know that there's a pretty big underground movement now, like even with most of the famous people, like the guys who wrote not Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's not underground anymore. Well, it's pop culture now. I mean,
so, and I know Marvel is coming out with their role-playing game, which would be awesome to play, I think. So maybe there's
been DC and Marvel games, licensed games for a while, because there's a ton of generic systems to role-playing games and to superhero role-playing games, and there has been a couple of adaptations to Marvel, to DC superheroes, to Dragon Ball, Gundam. I mean, you get to be the character you admire, basically. I started playing role-playing games when I was 24. I wasn't young. I wasn't a kid. Before that, I was scared because my first experience was with a very neck beardy dude, and I got scared when I was 14. I stayed away from that for 10 years. But once I started, I couldn't stop, and I ended up creating my own tabletop role-playing game system. Uh, I went full in. So this for me, it's amazing because it all stems from that part of nerddom, and I'm happy about it. I
Yeah.
wanted to share it.
So I would actually like to get a little group started maybe, and have a stream like this
That would
where
be
we get together and get that done. So another hole filled for you guys here on Thursday.
another hole to be filled.
All right, so Mr. Ignacio, let's. I want to ask you before we leave: is there anything you're looking forward to this next week, whether it's on YouTube or in the comic community, or anything you got coming up that you're excited about?
Well, let's bring it back to comics. I was very excited about something I read yesterday.
Okay.
After I finished my whole day of working with the campaign and such, I said, okay, I'm going to read this because I've been expecting this since they put him in the ground. And I'm talking about Sabretooth 1. Because Sabretooth is one of my favorite characters from the Marvel universe, the X-Men universe.
Sure.
And I wanted to see what happened with that. Because for those of you who don't know, who don't read X-Men, I know it's hard. It's really hard to read X-Men and keep up with the continuity and the multiple titles. But Jonathan Hickman, one of the first things he did when he created the island nation, sovereign nation of Krakoa, before they created laws or rules, they sentenced Sabretooth to an eternity alive inside the bowels of the island, that the island is alive too and feeds on the millions of mutants that are there. So for all of the Hickman run, all of the other spin-off titles and whatever, you don't know what's going on with this dude, that one of the main villains in the X-Men roster. And they went crazy. It's written by a novelist called, let me check it out, I don't want to butcher it, Victor Lavalle, and done art by Leonard Kirk. And they went crazy with it because this dude is all over the place. He's isolated basically in a stasis. His mind, he cannot move, or cannot, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this dude. It's not really clear yet, but for a moment they tease you as if he was going to come around, and he gets to live in a fantasy world in which he kills endlessly and he kills everyone he wants to kill, and once he's done, he starts to ask himself, what next? Am I done with this? Have I reached my limit? Am I happy with this? Or I can go even lower. And he goes lower, man. You're muted.
All that in the first issue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday at the shop, and I kind of passed on it, but it was a cover buy because I already spent a ton of money. But since you're describing like that, and for me, as a comic collector, my whole life, I've loved X-Men. Loved them. Like prior to this, I had the whole run from 1 through 441, 541.
Oh, shit.
And trying to get back into it, that's the first thing I want to read, and that's right in the middle of the Hickman one. And honestly, I felt like I needed a science degree to read that.
Yeah.
And I've tried a few times throughout to try to get back into it, and I couldn't do it. So this sounds interesting, though.
I was out of the X-Men for a while since the Grant Morrison run, And I came back for Hickman because I love Hickman, and he did House of X, Power of 10, and I entered with those two miniseries that are connected, and it worked. I mean, even if you know a little bit about the X-Men, I mean, you have the whole run and you like them, so you will have an idea of who the characters are, what are their powers, and what's their dynamic.
Right.
Maybe you are not caught up with continuity, but you know their relationships. So you know the soap opera behind it. So Powers of House of X, Powers of 10 fucks up that, puts it on its tail, and presents to you the 10th possibility of an alternate reality in which this happens.
See, and right there, you proved how much smarter you are than me, because right there, I'm lost.
Basically, I'm going to spoil it. I mean, it's been out for a while. Moira McTaggart. Apparently, she wasn't a human. She was a human. She's a scientist, a doctor. Well, apparently, Moira is a mutant too. And her mutant power is that when she dies, she's born again with all her knowledge from her past life. So then, what happens? She's involved with all the mutants in her first life. When she is born again, with all her knowledge, she does something different.
No?
Then she dies. Then she comes to life again, and so. In one of those lives, she's with Apocalypse. In one of those lives, she unites Magneto and Charles together, and they have a united front. In one of those lives, another possibility. I don't remember now. So through those 12 issues, because it's 6 of House of X and 6 of Powers of 10, you see what Moira goes through until she reaches her 10th life, which apparently is her last one. And in this life, she manages to unite all mutantdom into one nation. Of course, she's behind the scenes. She's the puppeteer, basically, or the mind behind all this, because in each life, she does the same thing at one point. That is, she goes to Xavier and tells him, read my mind and see what I have experienced. And Xavier sees all her lives, all her reincarnations. So he's immediately convinced that to help her. So Xavier, Magneto, Apocalypse, everyone comes together as a kind, as a nation, as a race, as a whatever you want to call it, all mutantdom, and they use Krakoa, the island, the living island, as their nation, as their territory.
Right.
And it all stems from that. But one of the first things they do as a council, the small council of Krakoa, they incarcerate Sabretooth because he killed a human on a mission.
I mean, that's what the guy does.
Exactly. Why would you send him?
That's it. All right, I'll give it a try. I mean, listen, if you're feeling a hole, I'm all about it.
Hey, Sabretooth was feeling a hole too in Krakoa.
And they stuck him in a hole.
Yeah.
For me, I'm always looking forward. Friday and Saturday is just about the community hangouts. Friday is because you never know what's going to be discussed on Mark's channel tomorrow. And honestly, on Chip's channel Saturday night, there are just so many things that happen that you never know what to expect. So I'm looking forward to those two things, in addition to those 2 covers I show on sale tomorrow. And 6 more days from now, we'll have episode 2.
Oh. Yeah, I've been reading something for episode 2.
Maybe we'll even have a different intro. Maybe we'll have an outro. Maybe we'll have other sound effects.
Oh.
But
Holes will be filled. Or, as I would say in my native tongue, vamos a llenarle sus agujeros.
And I'm just dripping wet. Thanks everybody for coming out. We always do it. It's enjoyable to sit here and talk to Ignacio because I love the guy, but you guys coming out and adding
Thank you guys.
sense, yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we may have further appreciation for you guys further down the line. So stay tuned.
Oh yeah.
Stay tuned. I've also tagged a few different channels down below. I think those guys are awesome. Circumstances, Cole's Comic Cleans, and I believe it's Roscoe this time around. I've linked them down low. Check out Ignacio.
And Twitter, Instagram, ArtStation. That's it.
And coming to a D&D table, hopefully sooner than later. Guys, later. Hey, consider your holes filled.
See ya. Thanks, Nick.